Hi guys, now we're going to go through our lower quadrant neural examination. So Glenn's going to take us through that. I'm just going to be talking through a few bits as he does that. So first of all, we're going to start off with our dermatomes. So Glenn, if you want to do that.
That's it, yeah. I mean, there's no reason why your neural examination should take forever. Yeah, so it's part of your assessment. It's a very important part of your assessment, and obviously you can go into more depth if necessary. But your basic neural screen should be no longer than 10 minutes, I think. Yeah, unless problems arise. I'm going to start with PJ's right leg. Going to make sure he's in a standardised position, so that's really important. We don't want hands up here or one hand behind. Make a note of how many pillows you're using as well, because obviously if you've got one pillow now, two pillows next time, it will put a different strain through the neural system. Yeah. If I get you to just slightly bend your knee up to about there for me, PJ, is that okay? And hold that position. And are you okay to roll your shorts up as well? So I like to use a cotton wool bud or something similar. And same on this side as well for me, both legs up, that's it, and roll that up for me again as well. I don't want you to think too much about it. Yeah, I'm just going to roll the cotton wool bud around each leg, and I want you to compare it. Tell me if it feels similar. If you feel more sensation, less sensation, let me know. But you don't want to place too much emphasis on it. You know, is the pressure exactly the same? People get a bit caught up with it. Yeah. So it's going to be very, very quick. So if I just come through here, and then the same on here. How's that? Similar? Okay. Just come around the back as well. Similar. And I'm not doing, you'll probably pick up here that I'm not doing specific dermatomes. I'm crossing over dermatomes to see if I highlight anything as I go. How's that? Same. Okay. Same around there.
So I think it's just, you know, you're going round, yeah, as Glenn said, numerous dermatomes. What we'll do is we'll put a chart up with what dermatomes you're going over as you do this. But what you're just doing is asking the patient, yeah, more sensitivity, less sensitivity, going from the back all the way around to the front. So obviously Glenn's got the legs in this position because he wants to, in order to check round the back of the leg, but also around the front of the leg. And then you just go down, and if you do have any specific points of discrepancies, then you could home in a little bit on that area, and then you could try and relate that to a dermatome in terms of the charts that we're going to show you. Obviously, you know, nerves and dermatomes are very intertwined and interrelated, so it is very difficult to say it's definitely this nerve, it's definitely that nerve, but you can get a general idea of which nerve it might be, and obviously that can then relate into the rest of your neural examination as well.
Yeah, I think another good point, if you do identify an area of reduced sensation, for example, I would actually measure it out. You know, quite specific, measure what distance that is where that deficit is in place, and that's one of your objective markers. Yeah. As you move forward, sometimes it will be very gradual improvements with that kind of thing. So it might be over several weeks that you're noticing, you know, 1 centimetre, 2 centimetre improvement each time. Yeah. So it's good to have something to measure on, because often the client, it's quite hard for them to kind of gauge that themselves. Yeah. 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 So that was very quick. You can see obviously if there was a problem with going to more depth, as Chris says, we're going to put up a chart. I'll show you the myotomes now. Yeah. Yeah. And Chris is going to talk through that. There's no need to go through it in order. So the way I do it is a slightly different order, but practically I think it works a lot better and a lot slicker. Yeah. Yeah. So if I bring you up here, Patrick.
So yeah. So Glenn's going into that hip flexion.
Hold that for me. Don't let me push you down.
So all these are resisted isometric tests, and that would be for L2.
Don't let me push you down.
So knee extensions, that would be L3.
Don't let me push you up.
So this is more hamstring, so then that would be more of an S1-2, but just because, as Glenn mentioned, the position's easier to do it at that time.
Okay. Obviously same on the other side, but for the ease of the video, we'll just test the right. Pull your feet up for me. Don't let me pull your feet down.
So then dorsiflexions, that's more of an L4.
And now don't let me pull your big toe down.
So then you've got more L5 with great toe extension.
Okay, good. Same position, we can test reflexes. Like I say, there's no reason to change people around and get the feet over the edge unless you can struggle in this position. Then you can go into those standard positions to test it further if you're not getting a response, but 99 times out of 100 I find this position absolutely fine. Yeah. So if I come under the knee, nice and relaxed, good.
Same with this one, we're testing L4, Glenn?
L4, yeah. and then I'm just going to let your foot gently go to the side.
And then S1 with this one. So with your Achilles reflex S1, knee or quad reflex L4.
Interesting point there, we've seen L4, S1, there's not actually a reflex for L5. So it's worth bearing that in mind, that could be a false negative response there. Yeah, if you think you've got a pathology at L5 and you've tested those two and you think, oh, reflexes are fine, it's worth just bearing that in mind as well.
Perfect.
Okay, and then final one. We look at Babinski. We're going to show you that in a bit more depth, but again, same position, no need to change around. I'm just going to brush across here.
And so you're just brushing down the outside of the foot, Glenn. And what are you looking for when you do Babinski?
Looking for the toes to kind of curl in, that's the normal response.
Okay.
What we're conscious of here is that we don't get the toes flaring out, which is what we call flexor withdrawal response. Yeah, so that would be indicative of a central nervous system pathology potentially,
Yeah.
and would actually be a sign that you have to get investigated.
Yeah.
As a matter of emergency, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we'll do as well is we'll zoom in now to the actual foot to show you exactly where we're kind of stroking, or where we're doing that reflex on the foot, and then you can just see the foot a little bit better with that.
Okay, so now we're going to look at the Babinski test. Normal response to this is a curling of the toes. If you were to get the opposite, flaring of the toes or extending of the toes, it may indicate an upper motor neuron lesion and would require onward referral. So all we do, I use the bottom of the reflex hammer and I'm just going to draw that across here. And you see Patrick's toes curl in as we do that. So opposite reaction, so toes flaring back or spreading out, would require onward referral.